Bank offered to eligible clients. Money Today guarantee if approved for a loan on a prepaid card. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Take steps to live a more sustainable lifestyle by investing in plastic-free food storage containers like silicone sandwich bags or beeswax wraps, which can replace the difficult-to-recycle single-use plastic wrap. And while we all do our part, Charmin is working hard to make a difference by regrowing 2 trees for every tree used. We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin? Whether it's the irresistible cushiony softness of Charmin Ultra Soft or the superior strength and absorbency of Charmin Ultra Strong, either way, you can't go wrong.
Now, more than ever, start your mornings with WGNS. The Action Line with Bart Walker. Weekday mornings at 8:10 on WGNS, AM, FM, online.
Sometimes, strange things can happen.
Coast to coast, all night, every night.
There's really no reason to be afraid.
On WGNS, AM, FM, online. The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into this Wednesday on the Roundtable. Chip Walters here with you from Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates, and the Blue Raider Network. And here we are in the second week of January. And so we got a whole new year ahead of us. And today we're going to be talking about what's always a hot topic in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, and that's real estate, mortgage rates, building houses, all of that. So for the next hour, if you've got real estate questions or mortgage questions, lending questions, you can text or email those to us at 615-893-1450. That's 615-893-1450. And a great panel today. It truly is the Roundtable today. And we have Chris Jensen of Jensen Quality Homes. He's a builder here in town, and that is Jensen with 2 E's. Yes. Then, and his website is JensenQualityHomes.com. And Chris, how are you doing this morning?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Got you off a construction site, didn't we?
Yeah, out of the cold.
Well, it's going to feel like Daytona Beach today compared to what it's going to be early next week, and we'll talk about how you handle that kind of stuff with your crews and all that. From First Bank Mortgage, Brandon Burks is here. The man, the myth, the legend. Middle school basketball coach at MTCS, and just a great friend and terrific lender. And glad you're here today. I really appreciate you because, you know, he got out of his car this morning in the parking lot, started bragging already. He goes, well, just left a closing at 8 o'clock this morning. So what a great way to start your day.
There's no better way to start the day than leaving a closing in today's world, that's for sure. So very, very fortunate to have a lot of good realtors and builders and customers in this area. It's a blessing to be in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that's for sure.
It really is. And rounding out the rows among all these thorns today is Valerie Glenn, who is the managing broker at Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates. And Val, you braved your way in with this group, and I appreciate it.
Yes, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Good deal. So, okay, the question we all get about 15 times a day, how's the market? And so we'll kind of start right there, because I think there is a level of excitement of what's going on in the real estate market, or what is to come there. And Valerie, I'll kind of start with you, because you probably do as good a job as anybody I know of keeping up with a lot of the national trends and you know, the Brian Buffinis and all of these forecasters and all of that, and I think there is overall a level of optimism of where the real estate market, and in particular in Rutherford County, where it's going to go in 2024.
Yeah, I agree. You know, Brian Buffini, he did his bold market predictions. I'm sure a lot of us watched back in December, and I think that he's definitely heading in the right direction with some of the predictions that he's making. You know, historically, Rutherford County has always had a very strong market, and I think we're going to continue to see that into 2024. If we do, and then I'll let you talk about the rates, Brandon. But if we do see some of the rate predictions that everyone's talking about actually happen, I do think we're going to see a really busy 24. We do have a lot of pent up demand right now. A lot of people bought when the interest rates were in the 3s and the 4s, and I think a lot of those sellers are considering making some moves in 24. So if we do see some of those rates happen, those rates drop, I think we're going to see quite a bit of activity, and that's going to be great for our market.
Yeah, and Brandon, you went through, and when you talked about the high 2s, low 3s, everybody refinanced, and then when they went up and we've got a ton of great lenders in this town, that the refinancing business just dried up for you guys, but starting to pick back up.
Yeah, 2020 and 2021 were an anomaly in the mortgage world. We were dealing with historic lows in rates. We were able to refinance people and help them also purchase homes that were more affordable because of the interest rate environment. In today's world, the last 2 years have been totally different. The affordability of homes went through the roof between building costs, which I'm sure he'll talk about here in just a second, but also with the interest rates going from the 3s to even touching the 8% range. Now, we did fortunately get a little early Christmas present this year, where the rates did drop back down into the the 6s, mid 6s, and that really helped us. We didn't figure we would get there until mid-year, if not towards the end of the year. So that did drop a little bit, which it spurred some momentum in the market, and everything I knew about mortgage. I've been in the business now 13 years, and everything I knew about it went out the window 2 years ago. Nothing really made sense anymore as far as the yield curve and other things that were happening in the market. But I really feel like 2024, every prediction I'm seeing is anywhere from a 15 to 20% growth, probably a 15 to 20% drop in rates. So if those continue, I think this year is going to be a really fantastic year for all of us in the industry.
Well, hopefully that will balance out the 15 to 20% drop that we saw in volume in sales a year ago. Again, if you want to have questions or comments about the real estate market or questions about lending and mortgages or building, 615-893-1450. You can call or text us. And Chris, from you as an independent builder, most everything you do, 99.9% is all custom. What has the roller coaster done for you in the last, let's say since COVID hit, and obviously that had an effect on everything, but then the bounce back from that?
Yeah, so we all know material prices skyrocketed. The popular term is lumber, which went just ridiculously high for a couple years. And I'm quoting through all this. And, there's people that just were incredulous at the price it cost to build a house. Everything I do is pre-sold. I don't do speculative builds. So people come in, I quote, we come to agreement, and I build. I haven't been that busy over the past couple of years because of costs and then rates. And so this past year, I actually expanded to doing some remodels as well, because with everybody having low interest rates, they're looking at doing changes to the houses instead of moving. But the past 4 or 5 months, I've been quoting all I can do to keep up with the quotes coming in. I think people are finding that it's leveling out, it's stabilizing, and making a decision now to move forward. Of course, I'm building for people that this is a long-term plan. It's not just a spur-of-the-moment type deal. But at the same time, lumber has come down, but a lot of the other materials haven't. Metal roofs, the black iron for your gas pipes are still sky high, way more than it was before 2020.
Oh, yeah, and you're right. I think everybody thinks, that lumber is such a big part of what you do, but I remember, the first house I ever built, Brandon, was or ever bought, was I was right out of college and felt like I did the right thing. Basically a year and a half after I graduated, and said, I want to buy something, and I'm glad I did. But I got, that would have been 1987, 88, 88, right in there. I got my loan at 7.5%, and I thought I was stealing money at that time. So, it's all a matter of what you have been exposed to, because there are people now who think 5 and 6%. It really took their breath away.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was cussing 6%
Yeah.
a year or two ago, and now I'm celebrating 6%. So it's all a mindset thing. Once you get used to it, and you figure out, with 2-1 buy downs and all these other products that are out there that we never used for 10, 11, 12 years, now we can help make the payments more affordable for a short amount of time, and try to help people get more accustomed to the new cost it is going to be to live. And she mentioned it a minute ago. I mean, the move-up buyers are out of the market and have been for the past 2 years, because they are sitting on 3% rates. But as those rates drop, I do feel like they'll be ready to get into a larger home as their families have grown, and that will provide a lot more supply for us in the market, which is going to help Rutherford County for sure.
Because there's been life changes and families growing and those types of things, and I feel like a lot of people who bought with those lower interest rates, they had to make some sacrifices and to actually buy that home, because they were competing against 35 offers, and so I think that they're kind of watching those rates, and as those rates start to divot, they may make some changes.
Well, like you said, and that there were, people made sacrifices, and Brandon, like you said, you cussed 6% interest rates. Well, there are times when, as a realtor, I've cussed home inspectors, but during that time, I felt bad because some of my buddies that were home inspectors, people were foregoing home inspections and just to be able to try to get a deal done, and that summer of 21 was unbelievable how competitive and all that was. So, I mean, do you feel like it's going to get back to that type of frenzy, or something that's manageable? And because I think people need to know, if you don't have to, you need to be able to get that home inspected and have a really good feeling about what you're buying.
I feel that 5 to 6% is a healthy rate.
Right.
When you get in that ballpark, you're maybe not have as many multiple offers. You're able to take a little time looking for a home. You're able to get the home inspection, like you mentioned, and not put yourself in a bad situation. A few years ago, you've got some people right now that may be underwater on a house because they had to overpay for that house because of multiple offers and different things that were going on. So I really feel like if we could get down in those 5s, that's a very healthy time for us to hopefully help people with purchases, refinances, and anything else that's going on.
Exactly.
Valerie, U-Haul put out a survey every year, or not in a survey, it's facts from their company of the top. They rank every state, I guess, of where the most one-way U-Haul rentals are heading to. Tennessee is the number 5 state in the country of where U-Hauls were going to in 2023. Wow. And as far as individual cities, Murfreesboro and Rutherford County was number 21 in the country of where U-Hauls were rented to go to. So there's the demand is going to be there, and that's one thing that we talk about. Back in 2008 when things went bad at that point, Rutherford County was, the last to really feel the effects and the first to come out of it. So,
yeah, and we had 55 or 50 million job switches last year, and with COVID going on, a lot of those individuals were working from home, and so they have a little bit more freedom to be able to move and go to other locations, and I think people are looking at tax advantages for the states, and Tennessee's a great place for that. So we're seeing a lot of people move in.
Yep. And we had somebody in our sales meeting yesterday that Brandon had also said that now that things have started to loosen up a little bit on money and dollars, that he had a couple of families from California that he had helped move in here, that these 2 California families are now selling to go back. So you know, there's always going to be a fluid situation as far as people moving in, moving out, and you know, and whether you are whichever side you're on, whether you like growth or not like growth, we're in an area where it's going to happen no matter what.
Right.
With us being that close to Nashville, it's never really going to stop, probably in our lifetime. And I'm seeing more people. Obviously, Rutherford County has exploded, but they're even moving to our outlying counties with Coffee and Bedford, Cannon. We're doing more just for the affordability of houses there, and also they want to be somewhere within an hour's drive of Nashville.
Yep, that's it. And Chris, when that phone starts ringing, which it has in the last year, like you said, what are their top 5 things on their wish list as far as, you know, when they look to build?
The biggest question I get is, where do I find land? Because that's when people are calling about building a house, that's the hard thing to find right now, is just land with perkable soil. Beyond that, it just goes to pure cost, because everything's so expensive, and building a custom home is a dream, you know, somebody's dream. They've been working for it for a long time, but where the costs are, we're making a lot of exceptions to what they want. So every individual, I don't know that I have a broad, hey, these are the top 5 things they're looking for, because everybody has their own needs, their own individuality, and they're looking at custom because of that. And
you hadn't figured out how to make more dirt yet, have you?
No.
So
go drive further.
Yeah, go drive.
You know, Chippy mentioned the remodel part, and Valerie's mentioned that too. You know, we've probably done more home equity lines this past 12 months at First Bank than we've done in the entire 12 years I've been there, 13 years I've been there. So people are, just like he said, they're trying to remodel because they're in a good rate and in a home that they need just to make some adjustments to, versus spending a couple of $100,000 extra and a higher interest rate on the new one. So hopefully that lower rates coming in will help, you know, maneuver those back to buying and selling to help our economy continue to grow.
All right, it is Real Estate Roundtable with Chris Jensen, Brandon Burks, and Valerie Glenn. They're here with us, and they've got your questions or comments ready to go. It's 615-893-1450. We'll take a break. Back with more on the Wednesday Roundtable here on WGNS.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Rayburn Insurance in Smyrna.
Come see me, Rick Hall, at Rayburn Insurance in downtown Smyrna today.
Online at rayburn.net.
Hey, it's Scott. When it comes to health, there are numbers that every man needs to know, including your testosterone number. I recommend Low T Center, where they make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results in about 25 minutes. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy. They can cause a lack of motivation and drive. It can raise your cholesterol, cause weight gain, and loss of muscle mass. Go to lowtcenter.com right now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
This Monday, join Laverne
in honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
at the annual MLK ceremony, a day of reflection,
inspiration,
and community.
The event takes place at 10 on Monday morning.
In the boardroom of the Laverne City Hall,
esteemed speakers Pastor Joe E. Randall Jr.
and Commissioner Hope Oliver will share powerful messages.
Let's come together,
celebrate unity,
and remember the dream.
A day of reflection,
inspiration,
and community.
We have something in the library that I've been working with, and that's a shelf of Adams Place authors. quite a few books that have been written by people who lived here. That's a highlight in the library that I'm proud of.
Margaret Ordubadian.
And we didn't consider any other place. This was it.
I'm Terry Deal. Call me from about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111. Memorial Boulevard, across from Walmart.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the Law Offices of John Day. For more than 30 years, my team and I have worked hard to help injured people throughout Middle Tennessee. Over that time, we've helped thousands of people get the legal help they need when they've needed it the most. And if we're not able to help or aren't the right lawyer for you, we'll do the best to point you in the right direction. If you've been injured, call the law offices of John Day for a free consultation. And remember, there's no fee unless we win your case.
For 77 years, WGNS has been your good neighbor. The Martin Luther King Jr. March is Monday, January the 15th. The morning starts at 11 o'clock by meeting at Central Magnet School and enjoying breakfast biscuits. The lineup for the march is at 11:30 on Monday, January the 15th, and it leaves Central Magnet School at noon, heading out East Main to Middle Tennessee Boulevard, and then to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, going toward the Patterson Community Center. From 1 until 3, a celebration of the arts at the Patterson Center. The Martin Luther King Jr. March, Monday, January 15th. The annual Friends of Linebaugh Libraries Author Luncheon will be Saturday, January the 27th, in the Maple Room at the Murfreesboro Housing Authority, 415 North Maple Street. It all begins at 11 o'clock Saturday morning, January the 27th. Tickets are available at the circulation desk at the Linebaugh Library. Be sure to give blood to the Red Cross. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Good Neighbor weather. Skies become mostly sunny this afternoon, a high in the mid-40s. Southwest winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 20. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 33. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 36.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. United Communications, MTE's internet company, is growing fast and will continue to expand on its more than 3,600 route miles of fiber, covering portions of Rutherford and surrounding counties with 99.99% reliability.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Coming to you from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, it's the Wednesday Roundtable here on WGNS, and it is a real estate lending and home building segment and a roundtable discussion here today. Chris Jensen of Jensen Quality Homes. You can check out his website, and that is Jensen with 2 E's. And Chris, when you got, obviously you said your phone has started ringing again, and you're trying to keep up with demand on getting quotes and bids out there and trying to find land to build houses on for people. Where do you see? I mean, the quick answer was when you can't find any more dirt, drive a little farther. Right. But what direction do you see growth coming in this county? I'm thinking Bradyville Pike has kind of been a little bit untouched, and we're seeing a few bigger homes. Obviously, Las Casas Pike. There's been a huge growth out toward Eagleville, that way. What are you thinking and seeing?
Well, a lot of it has to do with where there's rock and where there's not rock, which most of Middle Tennessee is rock. So it's really driven by the soil types on where you can grow or can't.
Yeah, how much clay is in the ground and all that.
For your wastewater systems. So until something with that changes, I mean, I see more and more people drifting out of the county, more towards Bedford, Coffee, Cannon counties. Not necessarily towards Nashville, because there's a mix there. Do you work in Nashville or do you work somewhere else? And that's really what is going to boil down to, is where are the jobs and then how far people are willing to drive. So, I mean, going down Bradywell Pike, yeah, it's not been it's been mostly untouched, but a lot of that
There's
is
a reason
because
for
of the
that,
soil.
probably.
You're right, exactly.
Brandon, I've sold 3 houses on the same street in Manchester, and all 3 people, just like Chris was talking about, all 3 of the people that bought those houses worked in Murfreesboro. 2 of them worked at Amazon, 1 of them worked at Nissan, and so they were all like, okay, I want to get out here where, affordability, and also, where can I be in 30 minutes? And all of these were on a street on the north side of Manchester, which I've got one down there now, by the way, if you want to ring the phone, that's available. But, people, 30 minutes seems to be the magic number. And also there's some other benefits. We all are here in Murfreesboro and want to promote Murfreesboro and Rutherford County, but from a lending standpoint, when you get into Coffee, Bedford, Cannon, the bedroom communities of Murfreesboro, there are more lending options as well when you talk about USDA and some of those type things.
Yeah, Rutherford, probably less than 50% now qualifies for USDA. I always talked about the inverted horseshoe.
Right.
Going opposite of Nashville, if you went outside of that area, you could, lend USDA. But, with the income limits, the problem right now with USDA is they still have a front and back ratio. So they still have a house payment ratio that's at around 29%. Well, it's tough right now for anybody to afford a home payment at 29%. It's in that probably averaging 35 plus in today's world. So a lot of people can lend in those areas. USDA, the entire county of Coffee, Bedford, Cannon, you can utilize those. So if you can find a home that's a little more affordable there, then absolutely. THDA has some great programs. We at First Bank have probably more first-time home buyer programs than anybody right now. So, we've really tried to help with people that are trying to buy their first home afford those houses by, better rates, better products, better down payment options. But yes, I've done more loans in Coffee this past 12 months than I've done in the previous 12 years. So you're dead on. I think, the average home sale in Rutherford is probably over 400,000 right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe you could stay,
That's because of Chris.
That's
he
right.
jacks
Chris
up the
built it too
price.
high. But actually, I heard a stat in my office right before I walked out the door where the average home sale in Bedford County last month was over 300,000. I mean, they're in the 350 range. So even those markets that generally used to be 250 on average, sub 300 for sure. Now they're even creeping over that amount. So with the interest rates and those homes being at that, it's making the affordability a major issue, which hopefully this year with interest rates coming down, or that's the prediction at least, maybe we can get some relief and have more people be able to afford those homes.
Valerie, when somebody calls the Exit Realty Bob Lamb office and you end up getting the call and it's somebody that says, hey, I'm brand new. I've been renting an apartment for 10 years. I want to buy a house. Kind of give me your elevator speech that you tell, because there are a ton of folks in that situation that have, moved here from wherever to go to college, and like about 65% of us that come here to go to college, we stay here, and that's a big part of the growth that's been here. But what advice are you giving first-time home buyers, and what's stop number one, and then what do you tell them that they need to go through the process and the time that it's going to take them to do that?
There's a lot of questions that I kind of ask on the front end. One thing that I think is most important, and I think Brandon will appreciate, is, have you spoken with a lender? I think a lot of people, when realtors ask that question to the general public of, have you spoken with a lender? Sometimes they think there's an obligation there, and there's really not an obligation to buy. It's always great to not put the cart before the horse, and that's really the most important thing is getting in touch with a lender, understanding what your buying power is. How much money do we have for down payment? Do we have room for closing costs? And at that point, that really kind of helps me as a realtor go, okay, where can my negotiation points be? How can I really help this buyer to meet their needs? And then, of course, the other questions come into play of, location, where do you work? And, what are your must-haves and things of that sort? And from there, I can kind of take the reins and say, okay, here's some hot spots. Let's take a look at this and then really show them the inventory that's out there.
Yeah, and I think the real world conversations and the folks that I've really kind of leaned on, hey, you need to call. That one single thing about what is your buying power, because it's kind of tough when you go and you look at these houses and you've got grandiose hopes and dreams and all of that. And then on the back end, you find out that that's not going to be in your wheelhouse.
Right.
It is such a better use of everybody's time, including the buyers. I mean, most importantly, the buyers, when they know exactly what their buying power is going to be. And Brandon, as she talked about, there's not an obligation there. It is really, they can go on your website, fill out, and like I said, so many others in this town, they can fill out, give you the information, and you can pretty much within 24 hours give them an idea of what range that they're probably going to fit in.
And there have been so many changes in the past 12 to 24 months within Fannie and Freddie and the conventional loans, government loans. Used to, you could call and say, hey, what's your rate? And I could give you something pretty automatic when it came to an FHA or a conventional loan. Well, now, are you a first-time home buyer is a question, because there are no LLPAs, that's loan level pricing adjustments. So what that means is if you're a first-time home buyer, you get a better rate than somebody that's not a first-time home buyer that's got a 740 credit score.
Wow.
So those changes just happened in the past few years. They adjusted the tiers in pricing. So used to 740 was the top. So if you had a 740 and above, you got the best rate. Well, now there's a 760 and a 780 opportunity. So your 740 that used to be fantastic actually is not as fantastic as it used to be, especially if you're not a first-time home buyer. So I tell people all the time, I feel more like a doctor now, where you've got to come in, not to come in, but you can do it online or you can talk over the phone. I've got to really diagnose your entire credit worthiness. You've got to look at your credit score, the amount of income you earn, everything you have, so I can really put you in the best vehicle, because conventional may be the best vehicle, FHA may be the best vehicle, depending on whether you're a first-time home buyer or not. There may be more grants available. So it's more work on a lender than it ever has been, but it really helps, because we can really dive in and help them and make sure they're not going and looking at a home with an agent that they can't afford. And we want to make sure when we send a pre-approval letter that agent knows that they are good for that amount. I actually don't do pre-qualification letters.
It's all pre-approval.
If I only do pre-approvals, because if I don't look at their credit, I can't tell you the truth, and our the respect and the everything we've earned over all these years is built on, hey, when we tell you it's good, it's good, and we can't tell you that unless we know.
Yeah, the hot button in 2023 in lending, in my opinion, was buy downs. That was probably the big word. Explain to people what a buy down is, and where the money goes, and how that works.
Well, there's two different ways. Used to, you could buy discount points or buy points to buy down your rate. So let's say that you had a 7% rate, you could spend 1% of the loan amount and buy it down to 6.5%. So, and that was for the eternity of that loan, as long as you had it. Well, in today's world, you're only buying that down 3/8 to 1/2, and you're spending $4 or $5 grand to do that. Well, because the interest rates jumped so much, the 2-1 and 1-0 and 3-2-1, but the most popular one right now is the 2-1 buy down. What that means is the first year, your interest rates drops 2%.
So instead of 7, it's 5.
7, it's 5. The second year, it goes to 6. And then the third year and forward, you would be at the original 7. So that has been really, builders are using that more than ever right now, because they want to keep their appraised values higher. Instead of lowering the price on the home, they're wanting to give some incentives to help the affordability and the person buy that house. So in that situation, Chip, The 2-1 buy down, which is the most popular, cost about 2.3 discount points or percent of the loan amount. So if somebody's buying a $500,000 house and has a loan, let's say that's on average $500,000, that's going to cost you around $12,000 for that buy down. And all they're doing is really prepaying that interest. The gap between the first year of 2% and the second year of 1% is prepaid.
Right.
Almost like in an escrow account
Right.
set aside to where the lender has that, or whoever's servicing that loan, which we actually at First Bank service the majority of our loans, which is another advantage of using us. But, we set that aside every month. We make that additional interest payment to lower it. The benefit to the 2-1 is if you ever refinance or sell, that money comes back to you, what is not used. So if you in 6 months rates drop and we refinance that loan, which we hope we do a bunch, then whatever's left over that wasn't used for that buy down, that customer or that borrower can use that for closing costs, buy down their principal. That money comes back. So I really like the 2-1 buy downs because it's a true dollar for dollar savings. Whereas if you buy a point and you buy your rate down an eighth or a quarter or a half, if you don't, if you refinance that in 6 months, you lose part of that money that you paid up front. You don't ever make that back.
The bottom line is it is prepaid interest.
That's correct.
It's prepaid interest in what's going on. Now, in your case, as a builder, do you help direct buyers or customers, or are they pretty much in decent shape when they get to you, since you're a custom low volume type guy?
Well, everything, every customer is different. So some do call me ahead of time or come meet with me first because it goes back to the number. They want to know what they can get, what they can do before they go talk to the bank, or is this plan feasible? So there are some that I will, hey, depending on what you're looking at, are you looking at a large piece of land or a smaller piece? I will help direct them. I don't recommend anybody for the most part because every situation is unique. Every bank has different products or similar products. And so, but a lot of times they already have it figured out. They're already working with somebody, but every case is different.
Gotcha. All right, we need to take a break as the Wednesday Roundtable rolls on. Final segment with Chris Jensen, Brandon Burks, and Valerie Glenn coming up after this, right here on the Big G, WGNS.
Does your home need freshening up? Let our family at Farrah Construction help you. We do painting, new flooring, anything that you need. If you can dream it, Farrah Construction can turn it into reality. Farrah Construction offers high-quality craftsmanship, quick response, and attention to detail. For home restoration at a price you can afford, Farrah Construction can get the job done no matter how big or small it is. I'm Ron Hall. Shop local. Let our family business help you. Farrah Construction Company.
As a leader in environmental services, sustainability is deeply integrated into our business model. At Middle Point Landfill, we are environmentalists at heart. We use a cutting-edge technology in combination with our deep experience in recycling and waste services to protect our environment and our neighbors. That's our job, and that's our promise. This is Mike Klassen with Middle Point Landfill. We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com. Republic Services. We are sustainability in action.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
Here at Bud's Tire, we make buying Michelin tires simpler. I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We offer a straightforward approach to service, including nationwide warranties with every purchase. Stop in today to see our full lineup of Michelin and BF Goodrich tires. For whatever you drive, Michelin and BF Goodrich have a tire to fit any need. Bud's Tire Pros, hassle-free, guaranteed. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Where is the best barbecue in town? At 1920 East Main, the best barbecue for miles around is at 1920 East Main, you can buy it by the pound, sandwich, platter, or plate. No matter what you choose, it will taste great. You can come with a friend, by yourself, or with a date. To Slick Pig Barbecue. Barbecue pork, beef, or chicken, Brunswick stew, great sides, lunch specials, down-home atmosphere, and they cater. Slick Pig Barbecue, it's the best.
This is Pastor Nikki Ajapong, lead pastor of Holy Hill Chapel.
Hear our sermons on WGNS Sunday night at 7:30.
Our sermons are loaded with the keys of the kingdom. If you don't have the keys, you'll be stranded.
Visit holyhillchapeltn.org to hear our podcast.
Boots, Boots, Boots. French's Shoes and Boots is your hometown store for the latest in Southern style and unbeatable prices. French's famous bargain racks are loaded with deals on name brand footwear priced 70 to 90% below retail. Come see why French's has been Tennessee's favorite place to shop since 1903. Find that new favorite pair you'll be proud to wear at French's Shoes and Boots.
Shop at French's Shoes and Boots.
1837 South Church Street in Murfreesboro.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Wednesday Roundtable, and get ready, keep an eye on the weather, because next, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's going to get really cold, down to single digits, and make sure that around your house you have everything taken care of. And Valerie, this is a good time for us realtors to reach out to our clients and send them that little email. You know, make sure that all your outside faucets have the covers on them and things like that, right?
Oh, yes.
What are people, when they call you now, what are they looking for in homes, as far as, because I can tell you the first two questions I get outside of location and price is does it have high-speed internet, and is there home office space, place where I can work from home? Are you getting those same kind of questions?
I'm seeing that. I think it all just depends on the customer, so that can vary. But I am seeing that the people are looking for more backyards, slightly bigger home, office space, things of that sort. So, yeah.
Chris, what features do people want in a new home? Anything new? What are the trends?
The trends are ever changing. Black windows are a big one right now.
I was out in Eagleville the other day, and I can't remember which road it is off there's a solid white house next to a solid black house. I mean, black gutters, black siding, black windows. It's kind of the stealth bomber look.
Yeah, black is real popular right now. Even inside, like doing a powder room, all black, paint just that one room in the house, and then with the champagne bronze fixtures, black has been real popular. Black windows, black gutters. That's what's popular. But that and in the bathrooms, the freestanding tubs are popular. And
when I was a kid, I was scared of the one in my grandmother's house because I thought it was going to walk off with me. Right. So, Brandon, got a listener question about rates, and what do you expect as 2024 continues? The question was actually, will rates go down this year? I think the answer to that is yes.
I mean, every publication, everything I read, study says yes. I mean, the Fed is expected to hopefully lower 2 to 3 minimum times in 2024. It seems like they've got inflation under control, and so that should spear those rates down. Now, obviously, the Fed rate doesn't necessarily correspond directly to mortgage rates, but we do feel like that mortgage rates will come down in 2024. Hopefully we touch below 6 prior to the end of the year, but we all a couple years ago quit guessing anymore.
Yeah.
Because we never dreamed it would have changed the way it changed, and there was no really rhyme or reason for that outside of the Fed.
But as you mentioned, with it now being at or just above 6 right now, that with some of these products, with the buy downs, things like that, that you can effectively, for that first year or so, get in the mid 4s if possible.
Yeah, depending
on certain products.
Depending on the product, depending on the credit, depending on those things. Yes, absolutely. The closing I had this morning was, in that range. So there's some opportunity now that there wasn't, because we touched 8 and above in November. I mean, so it was as high gets, and then we got some relief in December, and I'm hoping that relief continues to go through the year.
Chris,
and like she mentioned a minute ago, didn't mean to interrupt, but Valerie was talking about, just these home sales. Well, I mean, I tell people all the time, if you like that house, I mean, as soon as these rates come down, what do you think the value of the home's going to do?
Exactly.
The home's going to go up. So right now, home prices haven't fallen that much in Rutherford County, but there's more concessions given from the seller, builder. Take advantage of that now. Try to refinance later, because I feel like as soon as these rates drop, home prices in Rutherford County will continue to soar.
I agree.
Valerie, we talked about, home inspections, and there were appraisals waived, and going 25,000 over list and all that. Now that it's back to a balanced, or what that became it went totally the other way, and to a buyer's market. What are you seeing buyers ask for, and what are sellers conceding at this point of where we are going into what will be our busy season, starting in now into March and April, where things start really getting hot in the real estate market?
So I don't know if it's necessarily a super buyer's market. I mean, if you look at the list to sales price ratio, I mean, Rutherford County is still holding pretty strong on that. I don't want to quote exactly. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but we're somewhere around like the 98% on list price to sales price. So, home prices aren't necessarily lowering. We are seeing a lot of incentives, though, for the buyers, which is a great opportunity for buyers to be able to get in. And what Brandon and I were talking about a little bit during the break is, not necessarily focusing so much on the interest rate, because home prices are appreciating.
That's right.
And, the longer that you wait, hoping that you're going to see these rates drop, the more likely you're going to end up spending more money. And, and if they do drop where we're thinking, I mean, we're going to start seeing quite a bit of multiple offers again. And, so there's going to be a lot more competition out there for the buyers.
Yeah. And I think one of the number you gave there at 98% from list price to sale price. And I think one thing that has to be said there is that the realtors in our community are working with sellers to price the houses correctly.
Exactly.
Because, and we went through a period there where everybody was trying to get all they could.
Right.
And, and obviously that pendulum swings both ways, Brandon, but when a house is priced correctly, it's going to appraise, because that A word, that's a real key word with anybody that is going through you to get a loan. That house has got to appraise, because we were seeing, people paying crazy money for appraisal gaps and all that. But having professionals on both sides of a transaction and in the middle of a transaction where you sit is key.
It's funny you mentioned that on appraisals, knock on wood. Here recently, obviously, they've been coming in really, really well. And we only use Rutherford County appraisers on our panel in Rutherford County, which, 'cause we want to make sure that we have the right people appraising the homes in the right area. But, she was talking earlier, and I got to thinking about one of the quotes I heard years ago before I started investing in some real estate was, the only better day than today to buy real estate is yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. Because, it is something that is going to continue to go up. But that appraisal gap was a major issue a couple of years ago, because people were in a bidding war. They were only wanting to put 5% down on the home. So let's say that home was selling for $500,000. They're wanting to put $25,000 down. Well, if that thing appraised at $480,000, well, then they had to put $20,000 on top of the 5%. Right. So it was it was really stretching our consumers to have to put a lot more money into the house than they have to today, where they can maybe buy a house at 100%, 3%. But I'm I'm not seeing anything really over asking today.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing any appraisal gap in the past probably 12 to 24 months. So, I mean, it is a great time as far as to get into a home for the least amount down, with the seller paying some. Because on top of the appraisal gap, seller wasn't paying any concessions either.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they were their down payment, their appraisal gap, and all of their closing costs were being paid completely by the consumer.
Right.
So you couldn't get into a house for less than, $20, probably $1,000, give or take, at all. So it was it's a much better time in that retrospect to buy today.
Exactly. Yeah,
A friend of mine who's a realtor down in Orange Beach, she put up a post. It says, "Life's short. Take the trip, eat the cake, buy the house." It's that time of year. Chris, somebody, their dream, they have worked for 20 years and they've lived in a neighborhood. They want to move outside of town a little bit, build that dream home that's going to take them to retirement. Give me the 60-second, 90-second, what do they need to do? If they said, I know what I want, but I need to go down that track. And when they pick up that phone to call you, do you tell them, call a lender first, or how do you, what is the process of building?
Well, so you've got to have land. So you've got to find land.
Do you help them identify land at all?
I don't have any issues looking at the land, but that's not my expertise.
Gotcha.
Obviously, I've been in the business for over 20 years and have picked up a thing or two. But the perk site's important, and having a good realtor to find land is going to be important, because that's part of, especially somebody that deals in land as a specialty or specifically. So you find land, and then you find a floor plan that you want. I tell people there's lots of floor plans online. That's the most affordable way to get a floor plan. Ignore the pretty picture of the front of the house. You want to look at the layout. The front elevation is easy to modify, easy to change for a look. The layout is harder. And then if you're going to build with a custom builder, we can make tweaks and changes without any big deals. So find a plan you like, and then think through what's important to you in the house. For where do you want to spend your money? A lot of people, 1 or 2 rooms are the specifics where they want to put money, and know what that room is, so that it can then be priced accordingly, and you don't get surprises down the road. I say the joke is, everybody says, lenders, expect runovers. My goal is not to have runovers. We want to price the house for how you want it. But we've got to know that information up front. What are your wants? And then we can go through and price that.
Yep. From a volume standpoint, you said you've got 2 going right now. What where do you like to be in a year? How many homes do you like to? Because you're not a big volume builder. You are custom, and with that's a lot of care and a lot of discussion with the people who are building.
Yeah, I prefer to have 4 or 5 under construction at any given time.
Yeah.
And this year, adding remodeling to it. I mean, I've got 2 houses under construction, but I've got 3 6-figure remodels going too. So I am busy right now because of that. So, but yeah, 3 to 5. More than that, I mean, I'd love to get to the point. I'm looking to grow. That's why I've added the remodeling. I'd love to do more, but I would hire on additional supervisors to be able to give the attention to look at the house daily as much as we can. Anytime there's work going on, we try to be on site that day.
And we're seeing a ton of remodeling going on in these historic homes downtown, and that's really exciting to see a lot of that.
Yes.
And people, if they want to reach you, how can they do it?
You can go online, email me. My email's easy, chris@jensenqualityhomes.com. My office is right here on the square by City Cafe. Don't just walk in the door. I'm not there right now, obviously. But jensenqualityhomes.com has all our information on there. And then we also do virtual reality within the homes as well.
Oh, okay.
So before you build, you get to walk through it before you're actually building it.
Oh, cool. Valerie, folks want to buy or sell, how do they get in touch with you and the team of realtors at Exit?
Well, Exit Realty is located just off of Memorial, not too terribly far from the VA down there in Murfreesboro off of Memorial. And our office is 615-896-5656. And if you got any real estate questions, we're happy to help out.
Absolutely. And Brandon, since Valerie and I are going to tell them to contact a lender first, how do they contact that lender?
Well, they can contact me anytime. My cell phone, 615-767-1030. Our office is right here on 615 Memorial. My entire team is here on the second floor at the main First Bank branch, and we're glad to help any way we can.
I tell you, the hour goes fast because I didn't even get to even scratch the surface on all the Edsel Charles stuff and all of that we can talk about. But I think very informative today, and thank you, all of you for coming in and spending a little bit of time, and hope folks out there got learned something from that.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, and you can find me at my website at choosechip.net. That is it for today. Brian Barrett is coming up next. If you missed any of this show and you want to listen back to it, go to the podcast section of WGNSradio.com, and it will be there. And you can also check out our smiling faces on the Big GTV YouTube channel. So that's it for today. Have a happy hump day. Brian Barrett is next right here on WGNS.